Aaron, what is up?
What's up, Rick? What's up, Zach?
Finally got
What's
back
going on?
on.
Yeah, I just figured out that I actually needed my laptop to join the lives because my laptop is
Uh-oh.
Oh,
actually
okay.
very bad. All
This
right,
tech,
yeah, but I just get. I'm sorry. What was that?
this tech stuff, I don't always understand it.
I know.
Zach's the tech whiz.
What's up, man? How can I help you out?
Yeah, so I currently actually have my third property under contract, and what I'm dealing with is I actually have it under agreement, and the thing is, it has to go through probate, and so there was actually the county was going to go in and take the property on May 7th due to that there was liens on the property that nobody paid for. And so I actually advise the sellers to go ahead and come out of pocket and pay for the lien. That way we could get through the probate process because I already had the buyer for it and everything.
Okay.
And so what I'm dealing with is my concern is if the probate doesn't go down smoothly as of planned, and then I can't reimburse them with the lien that they've covered out of pocket, is there like a possibility of the probate like won't go as a plan? Because I have got some information back with them, and what they've told me is they've actually went through this process before, and what they're saying is that they had an issue due to like one of the brothers of the Harris who passed away before the will was created. And the
Okay.
thing is, he has two a nephew and a niece that they know nothing about, and they can't get in hold of them or get their contact information. And the thing is with probates, they're really like hard on giving you information. They want you to hire a lawyer, so they're not like I'm trying to like help these people out, and I've even studied on the probate paperwork, and I've walked them through of them filling it out about them having to hire an attorney because they're like really not wanting to hire anything. They don't even want to like worry about the property. They just want it to basically be foreclosed on. But I said, hey, like Miss Ellis wouldn't want you guys to do that, and that's why I'm here to help you guys to get this thing solved quickly, so you don't have to list it on the market, and
Hmm.
the time you guys don't have enough time frame to even do that. And so I'm just trying to do everything in my willpower to help these people out. But my question is for you guys. So if if for some reason we can't find the two names, like the brother, I mean the the cousins and the nephews, if they can't sign the agreement because nobody has their contact information, will that be a problem?
So let me back up here. What state are you in?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. Are you familiar with probates for Georgia, the state of Georgia?
So it's gonna be Fulton County.
No, this is actually in Decatur, but
Okay.
no, this is actually a tax delinquent that has to go through a probate. And so no,
Okay.
I've never been familiar with probate, so this is actually my first time like
You're
coming
talking to the right
against it.
guy.
Okay. So number two,
Take it away from
how much was this lien they had to pay out of pocket?
Yeah, it was $1,595.
Okay, that's like super cheap. Just to let you know, some of them are like really bad. Number three, did the person who passed away, did they die with a will or without?
They passed away with the will.
With a will. So it sounds like you're missing like is there two heirs that you just can't track down? Is that the problem?
No, so I have the agreements from all the three other heirs. I've already got their paperwork notarized, and I've reached out to the court. And what they're saying is the court told me that due to the brother that passed away before the will that was created, that they would have a state appointed attorney to represent him. And
Correct.
so, but then again, what the seller is telling me is she's saying that basically the mother actually had a power of attorney change the will to add him on the will. And so I'm thinking, and she didn't tell me that information until
No.
after I told him to pay for the lien because I already had all the agreements from who she told me who was the heirs of the and then out of nowhere she said she mentioned this
Okay.
after I mentioned the pay for the lien and everything.
So you're just going through a learning curve. Number one, most people freak out because they think they have to know everything about probates. You need to know everything about wholesaling. So are you working with a title company locally there?
So I haven't even so I have the buyer in place, but I have a title company that I know that is set that works with investors, but I've never worked with them before. But
Okay.
I contacted them and let them know that what I'm going through. Yes, I've contacted them.
I would, as fast as you can tomorrow when they open, get in your car and go in person and tell them what your situation is. Like, who do you have? Would they be handling the closing if you assign it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So most of them will guide you through it. Like, honestly, I've gotten 80% of all my probate information from title companies. They usually have a lawyer associated with them, and they'll tell you what you need to do.
And so I reached out to somebody who works at the courthouse, and he basically explained it for me and broke down everything. And that's when I called them back and walked them through everything.
Okay. So I can't undo what you've done previous to this conversation. So the idea is to get your deal done. Let me ask you this. What's the potential profit in the deal? And be honest with me on it.
Yeah, so I have the assignment signed for $13,950.
Okay. What's so tell me what the rough value of the property is right now. Is it vacant or is anybody living in it? Is there a tenant in it?
It's just a piece of land. It's pretty simple. So
Oh,
it's a
okay. It's
30-acre lot.
Okay. So so I assume you're doing like a per se type of legal for the family, which
I'm
means
sorry,
basically is
per se.
per se basically means when people like represent themselves.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Because
no,
remember, you're not a lawyer, so
Mhm.
you in the perfect world under this is the property has to go through probate to get the judge to sign off of it to transaction on the title, correct?
Right.
Okay. So what's the biggest problem? I still don't understand the biggest problem with the probate. Who are you trying to track down to get signatures from?
Right. So that's actually what we haven't hit yet. So I'm still what I'm saying is the courthouse told me that he's going to be represented, and what they're telling me is um they basically we're gonna have to, it's just a confusion that we have to wait until the court hand gets it. But what you're asking me is who else do I need on the probate paperwork? Correct? Is that what
Correct.
you're asking?
I don't
Well,
understand who you're missing.
yeah, so since the brother passed away, we would need the nieces and nephews that he had or his children.
Okay. And you have no idea where they are, right?
You're correct. The sellers told me that they haven't contacted them or ever checked up on them ever, and don't even they're family members.
Uh, okay. So I would go to the title company and get help as fast as you can. Um, I was assuming it was a house, a piece of land. So, and then the rough value of the land's what, 20 grand, 15 grand? Like how much?
18, 20.
I'm just looking at the transaction cost. So they laid out 1,500. So now they're really expecting to make sure that you come through.
Right.
In the future, when this comes up, I'm just here to tell you, I get people all the time. They go, listen, Rick, I'd love to sell the property, but it's got to go through probate. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to deal with a lawyer. It's like, I just want to deal with it. If I can verify the value in it and the profit potential, I'm going to give you a step further. You can either easily hire an attorney or a paralegal. And then I said, listen, normally it costs me $2,000 or $3,000 to do this. I'll front the money from it, and then I'll allow you guys to reimburse me at closing. But you have to cooperate with any request we make within reason. And I'll gauge their attitude on it. And then most of the time, if I have an attorney, especially a paralegal, if I owe them, say, $1,000, I'll give them like $500 or $600 up front, and I'll give them the balance when it's done. That way I make sure that they have incentive to go along. If I know no one's going to object to a case or I'm not going to have any problems, I have no problem hiring a paralegal. A paralegal are the people who prepare the paperwork for the attorneys anyways. Okay. Aaron, the last thing you want to do is become an attorney because there's a lot of problems that come along with it. There's a lot of laws and stuff that you and me aren't even privy to, and I don't even want to get into them. So for this deal, focus with the title company and work with them and try to navigate it through it. In the future, when it comes up, if they go, hey, I don't want to deal with it, I don't want to do any of that, that's fine. I can front the cost for the legal stuff, and then you guys can pay me on the back end of the deal. Are you taking a risk? Absolutely. But the reward is I recently paid $3,500 to hire a lawyer to do a probate. I made $75,000. Okay. And then I was thinking in the front, I forgot if I could just make 20 grand, I'd be happy with it. The problem is someone still had to pay the legal fee. We were never going to get around to it. Now, you can tell your buyer to put up a $1,500 deposit, but sounds like you already have them under contract for the assignment.
Correct.
How much of a deposit did you get from them?
$2,000 non-refundable
Okay, so you're
after
doing
probate has been completed.
okay, and that's probably with the title company
Right.
or who's okay. Is that money given to you or the title company?
The attorney from the title company.
Okay. So, I mean, if you can get it to go through, you'll be just fine. But like in the future, when you have that, just say, listen, if the number one complaint I get with probates is we don't want to pay the legal fees. And I agree with them. So an average probate before like crazy, all the stuff's happened in the last 2 years, I could get the average probate done for $1,500 to $2,000 with an attorney that just pushes paperwork. With a paralegal, I can get it done for $1,200 to $1,500. I'm assuming a lot of those numbers have probably doubled by now, just to do a gauge when it comes up. But I'm telling you, guys can make a phenomenal amount of money in probate by helping people fund their legal fees. You have to calculate if they're going to cooperate. And I will tell you the biggest risk factor. You ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
How many heirs are associated with the probate? The more heirs you have, the higher your risk is because people don't want to cooperate. I've done it with as many as 26 heirs. So you got to get to the title company tomorrow, tell them exactly where you are, be brutally honest, and tell them how can we get this thing to the finish line. Okay. Because
Okay.
outside that, you're going to have to hire an attorney. It's going to be expensive, and they don't like to come in when you've already filed your own paperwork. They hate it with a passion. So you still have a good shot with it. You just got to stay on point and get everything done with it. So and then I hopefully your buyer's a little bit flexible on time. Correct? He knows the actions you're taking on the property.
Yeah, I've updated her yesterday, and she said that's good news. I mean, I don't even know if this is a real buyer. I mean, I've never worked with the buyer, and that's another one of my concerns. Is
Did you get a proof of funds from him?
so the thing is, I'm actually JVing with somebody. So somebody else brought me this buyer, and they're basically saying that they don't even ask for proof of funds when they
Yeah.
get cash buyers. So
Okay, so I'm teaching you guys how to cut the middleman out so you make sure your deals go through. While you're waiting, I would tell your JV person if they want to get paid, I need a proof of funds.
he's
And make,
basically saying that they're just going to copy a picture off the internet, and he said that doesn't
no.
really prove that they're even a cash buyer.
Here's how proof of funds works. I call off the piece of paperwork to prove the money's in there. End of story. Like that's if you take so tell them to take a screenshot of their bank account or send you a copy of their most recent bank statement. It's that simple. It's not a lot of money, Aaron. It's like they should be able to do that. If they lie to you, it means this is the drama you're going to have at the end of the transaction. And if that's the case, then you can move on, find your own buyer because you've got plenty of time. But that JV partner has to provide value to you. And if they're going to like make it like, I can't do this, then that's an agreement you got to consider. So if you guys ever do JVs with someone, especially with a new seller, make sure that they have a non-refundable deposit and they've done a proof of funds. If you don't have those two things, you probably don't have a real buyer. I don't want you to be disappointed to get through this entire probate process and find out your buyers can't come through for you.
That's what
And
I'm
listen,
worried about.
you demand it from your JV partner. The more they talk like, don't worry about it, we're good. Then you're running a hobby. You're not running a business. So you
I
got it. I
appreciate
mean,
that.
it's just, guys, I don't want anyone on here to be an attorney. You don't want to do it. Like it can lead to bad things. So in the future, when it comes to this, try to do a paralegal if you don't have to go to court. And if not, get an attorney and tell them you'll pay half up front and half when it's completed. End of story.
Okay, and when you deal with probates, do you always have to come out of pocket to pay for the probate, or most of the probate leads already have the probate process completed and they're just sitting on the property?
So probate is the process of waiting for a judge to sign off to transfer the deed. Okay.
Right.
For the record, you do not have to wait for a probate to be completed to have it sold. A probate is a case. And in that case are any of the assets the deceased left behind, and they're trusting the personal representative or the executor to disperse those assets correctly. Okay? Most lawyers will try to guide you and say, listen, you got to wait till the probate's over. You don't. If you have a signed executed agreement from the legal party, which is the PR or the executor, then they have the right to sell that asset. Why? Because houses cost money. You got to pay insurance, property taxes, all the stuff that she's doesn't like paying now.
Right.
You want to get it sold as fast as possible to remove the stress from the estate. Okay. These are little things you can learn. If you have an attorney or a paralegal on your side, you can walk through the motions of presenting it to the courts so your client can get what they want. In the end, they want that property sold. Keep in mind, when that property is sold, they don't actually collect the proceeds until the probate's done, but they're not paying taxes, insurance, and all these ridiculous liens and fees that goes against the property. So, guys, you like probate seem like really intimidating. You just got to have people guide it through you, and then you got to weigh what's it going to cost for me to do this, and what's my risk. If the risk is massive, I don't do it. But if I have a high probability, like 80% of making a lot of money, Aaron, I know you spent like $1,000, $2,000 on stuff that you thought brought you a lot of benefit, but it was just like a fancy vacation. If you could bet $2,000 on yourself to make 50 and you had an 80% probability, you would take that bet all day long. So if I had to go back in time, I would have had to done this a little bit differently, but you still got a good profit potential. Go to your title company, get the answers as fast as you can, and just work backwards from there. As far as your cash buyer, go back to your JV partner. If he doesn't want to prove up the cash buyer, tell him to give you the number directly. And if he doesn't prove up to it, I don't know. But you've signed an agreement, so you're kind of stuck. But hopefully you have a refundable deposit somewhere on file.
Yeah, the problem is what I've been told by some other investors is that I could have actually got the earnest money before the probate. That way the buyer's locked in. Because my concern is that the buyer wastes our time, right, and then backs out when the probate is finished, and they went through all that hassle. Okay. But they're legally binded in the contract, but they still have the probate to that time.
So while you're at the title company, take your assignment agreement and have them review it.
Okay.
And just learn. I'm here to tell you guys, it's messy business if you're going to JV with a cash buyer with another wholesaler and you've never done business with them before. Have you done business with that wholesaler before?
No.
Yeah, everybody wants to get paid, but nobody wants to do the work. So start hedging your bets now and figure out worst case scenarios so you don't get caught with your pants down on this one, and you'll be good.
Thank you, Rick.
Have the title company review that. They'll usually pull up the probate, tell you where they're at, see if it matches up, and then have them look at your assignment agreement. And if your JV guy starts, you got to give them a chance because you signed an agreement. You got to honor your word. Mm-hmm. But if they start hemming and hawing, you make the phone call to the cash buyer and put the fear of God at them. Like, hey, if you're not going to come through, it's this date and that time, and go from there. And then go forward. Honestly, when you have probate, just like if you knew you had all this time, you probably would have never entered into an agreement with a JV to find a cash buyer. Because honestly, the cash buyer is the easiest part of this transaction, and your JV guy knows it.
Right, but the thing is, I don't have any softwares to pull any cash buyers, and I've been trying to get buyers through realtors, and that has been a struggle.
Hey, for rents. We'll call it for rents.
You got a cell phone?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got all the tools you need, dude. Like I honestly,
bro, I see you on Facebook all the time. Do you know how many Atlanta cash buyers there are, dude?
I've reached out to a lot of them, and they're obviously not a big cash buyer. They're basically saying that they don't buy land, that they're not really the ones that I've reached out to. I've spent hours of finding groups and reaching out to cash buyers, and honestly, I think a lot of them are fake robots in an account that wasting people's time. To be honest,
have you cold called the for rents?
No, I have not. That's one thing I have not done. No, to be honest.
That's a cheap piece of property, and especially in a good area. So I think you're underestimating what you can do with it. Like, listen, if a wholesaler brings you a deal, you want to work with them, to me, that's worth it. But like on the cash buyer, especially on one that you need, when you hear probate, they typically take time. I would say, listen, if I can't find a buyer, I will bring you in. So Aaron, it's just a learning curve. That's all. You're going through it. I've been through it 1,000 times. And you're just going through it, and you're going to learn a lot from this transaction on the front side, the assignment, and the back side.
Exactly.
So get with your title company. They should solve a lot of your questions and point you in the right direction with it. If you had a huge profit potential, I would beg you to bring a lawyer in this point, but I just don't think it's worth it at this point.
Yeah.
So, and you got to help your sellers out because they got money on the line and they believed in you. So just help them finish it out and you'll do fine. Go to the title company. I'm telling you, they'll give you guidance.
Okay. So does, what you're saying is drive to the title company. Could they already start the process and I send them the paperwork, or should I just wait on?
However you want to do it, call them in the morning, make an appointment with them, send them what you got. And you got to respect their time. And then guys, you got to develop a special relationship with your title companies. They will bail you out of more problems And because lawyers are expensive, talking to a lawyer at $500 an hour, it adds up quick.
I agree.
So I'm all about being proactive with a lawyer, but like when you go to a lawyer, you don't have a relationship and you go in a reactive situation like this, it's going to cost you a fortune. So you're kind of forced to work with your title company at this point.
Yep. I appreciate you guys. Y'all guys have a blessed night. I appreciate
you. Got it. Let us know how it works out. All right. See you,
Thank
man.
you, Zach.
Later.
Oh.